Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and there's simply never a boring day when Crimsix is around telling his side of the story of the internal beef going on at the New York subliner, saying that Neptune tried to throw him under the bus, but it's not just him that didn't want Neptune on the team, the entire team agreed with that assessment, and seemingly the entire CDL as well. Very much enjoying your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy, subscribe if you're new as always, I'll greatly appreciate it. Really up to the channel, thank you very much indeed for doing that one, all that type of good stuff. Firstly, let's talk about the Halo tourney that just started yesterday over in Kansas City. Thought it was cool to see Adam Apicella and the boys back involved with an MLG style event, right? Esports engine nowadays. But yeah, very similar to what we had pre-CDL days. Shotzi was actually doing a watch party for this, thought that was really cool. And well, there was also This Is Formal set. So GG's to FaZe, Na'Vi, Fnatic. They had, I think the Optic guys generally had a pretty hard group. Of course, so they're coming in effectively as favourites. Them and Cloud9, like, if it's not an Optic versus Cloud9 finals in this tournament, I think a lot of people would be very surprised. They played FaZe, Na'Vi, and Fnatic in their group day one. Pretty tough group, all things considered. But yeah, pretty sure they did not lose a map once again. Now, I mean, they win this series right here against FaZe Halo on the main stage. Like, well, obviously good stuff. It's cool to see the venue. I think it looks like a fantastic venue. A big event, really, because I think it's a few months after this one where the next event is. So kind of a strange format I feel like Halo have. But, you know, still, the game to watch is actually really enjoyable, I think. Like, the pacing of it seems really good indeed. And this is kind of how the groups are looking after day one. So they'll go into the open bracket team comes through. So kind of, I'm pretty sure the last event we had that was actually in this format was probably right at the start of Black Ops 4, at least in Call of Duty. I guess CDL Las Vegas, I think, had an open bracket that fed into the groups. After that, in Black Ops 4, they kind of did like a pseudo-franchise ecosystem where, you know, the 16 teams weren't yet franchised, but I'm pretty sure, like, the opens were kind of going alongside the major tournaments rather than open teams could actually go into the groups. So that's how it looks, right? An open team will get through, they'll play all the 4 pro teams, which usually doesn't work out too well for them, right? But used to be somewhat entertaining at the start of the Saturday. That's what'll happen tomorrow. But, yeah, Cloud9, they're 9-0 map counts in their Group A. Optic 9-0 map count in Group B, right? So, yeah, certainly those teams seem to be the strongest right now. And, yeah, FaZe, I mean, the Optic 3 at the end of the day. Some of the maps were close, but to be expected. This is Group C, E United 3-0, Sentinels 3-0 in a kind of Group C and D, maybe as expected. Quadrant thought was kind of cool because that's Lando Norris's Halo team. I believe maybe a French team or something. They also look set to make it out of the groups in the winners bracket, right? So we'll see how this tournament progresses. But, yeah, today they'll play the open team, then the winners bracket will start. And, of course, you've got to have a good start in the winners bracket if you don't want to make some sort of crazy losers bracket run. Let's talk about what's going on the COD side then. So, yes, the CDL come up with a nice little graphic, actually, about the groups and the matches that we shall see in the Pro-Am Classic. Finally, we're almost at the end of April, which means the start of May, and finally there's some Call of Duty back on the menu again. I believe the 5th of May is when all this kicks off. But yeah, the subliners, they're down in there in Group C. To me, this is probably the most interesting group of the lot. There's a lot of interesting groups here, right? Ultra Academy North America considered to probably be the best, best amateur team. They came out of, they won, of course, the Minnesota Open, right? So you'd think they'd be the best team. They're in the group with Paris Legion, Boston, Los Angeles Guerrillas. That's an interesting one. Group C, also very interesting. Like, you know, all the groups are interesting, right? Because Optic versus Mutineers, of course. Mutineers beat Optic at the Major 2. Seattle Surge versus FaZe always seems to be a good one, right? And then, of course, Group C, to me, like subliners, Thieves, Ravens. Really tough to call how this is going to go. And Team War as well. No pushovers by any means, right? So lots to prove really for all of these teams. Especially if and when the subliners do confirm the roster change we were expecting to see with minus Neptune and then Kismet now coming into the team. Now, Crimsix last night on stream had a lot of word to say about this. Like, he had a nice little introduction. And, you know, when Crimsix is more active on the timeline, I think generally things get more exciting indeed. So we know that the kind of relationship between Crimsix and Neptune hasn't exactly been great. I believe this is the final time that Crimsix has even tweeted at him, and that's back in January. You'd have thought for, like, teammates there had been, you know, more ongoing interaction right throughout the season. But Crimsix seems to reckon, actually, we'll see in a clip here in a second, that from, like, the 3rd week, either with this team, maybe the 3rd week scrimming with this team, or the 3rd week of the CDL, but I'm guessing the 3rd week with this team, just because, like, they'd already dropped Neptune by the 3rd week of the CDL. Like, if they played the kickoff, then they actually looked right at the kickoff, came top 4. They played their very first weekend of matches at the start of February, and then dropped Neptune immediately off the team right to brought Royalty in, thinking that was a solution, didn't end up working out. Neptune comes back very briefly, and then, well, seemingly now is gone again after a little bit of time with Paulix instead of Clayster, that type of stuff. But yeah, the relationship there didn't really seem to be great from Crim's side to Neptune's, and also, well, seemingly very much the other way around. So Crim has had a few words to say on this, and well, you boys on the screen, it's kind of Rabception once again. But Crim is saying that Neptune wasn't really happy with the way Crimsix was playing the game, and it's always an interesting one, right? I'm sure this could have been handled better from both sides, internally, and also, like, from Neptune's side as well. But, you know, that's kind of the thing. If you're going to go into a team, you know, he was in Halo just a couple of years ago, kind of why I mentioned the Halo stuff, just because some people have said, is Neptune going to go back to Halo if no one in the CDL wants him, as Crimsix is going to say here in just a second. But if you're Neptune and coming into a team with the greatest of all time in Crimsix, top 4, top 5 greatest of all time in Clayster, and then, you know, you're going to try and assert authority on the way you want to do things, might not work out too well, and might not be the greatest idea in general, given their kind of history and tenure within the game. And Crim was basically basically telling him how he wanted him to play the game, just play to apply pressure, but Neptune wasn't happy with that. Apparently he was going off on Crimsix himself, but then the entire team didn't want to play with Neptune, so that's part of the clip. Then he actually goes on to talk about Clayster and says like he feels really bad for Clayster, the situation that he finds himself in. He hasn't got a spot actually like elsewhere in the league, and he feels like he deserves a shot somewhere else. Just the team dynamic wasn't clearly good on the subliners, and Crimsix even says like if he'd have left somehow, then Clay could have had a spot there and Crim could have had a spot elsewhere. Would have been kind of crazy, but seemingly no offers going around, especially because of what Crimsix kind of finishes off with this clip, basically saying that like, look, subliners have not received any offers for Clayster or Neptune, and like, well, the entire league, not just his team, but the entire league doesn't want Neptune based on his attitude and stuff like this, and he's not afraid to kind of tarnish his reputation given the damage he did to this team internally.
Talking all the texting him saying like everything's cool. You know what I mean? Like just play to apply pressure. Right? It's all I want you to do. If we're not rotating the hills, that's on me. That's my job. You know? And anyways, the next day, he's just going off on only me when the whole team didn't want to play them. And here's a real can of worms. All right? I'm so sick of this shit, dude. Is that not only did our team not want to play with Travis, but the entire CDL doesn't either. All right? So you can throw me under the bus all you want, bro. But like, let's be real, dude. And now, right? No one will trade. No one will trade for Travis or Clay. That's the spot. That's the spot I'm in. That's the spot we're in. And here's the thing, right? I could have been demanded the out of here. You know, it could have went horribly south, right? But I'd rather work through this and succeed where than go to some other team and just take the easy route. Like, I didn't want to do that. Did not want to do that. It's just so annoying, dude. And the hilarious thing, right? Last year I learned the lesson of like, listen, the job of player, you can't talk them. Do not ruin their image. If anything, make it seem like they're better, right? Make it seem like a personal problem rather than a performance problem. So then other teams will want them. Bro, we're like 3 months in to this. You know, how many times has Travis been dropped? Like twice? And it's like, dude, still no one wants him. There's a reason for that. There's a reason. And at this point, like, nothing's going to happen. We got to make the best of what we got. Like, who knows? Maybe, I could have been traded and we both would have been playing. That's ultimately what I would have wanted. Not would have wanted, but like, for both of us to be playing. You know? So that, in terms of that aspect, like that, if that sort of kills me, you know? Yeah, I think Clay deserved another shot somewhere because, dude, this whole situation that we were in was... I knew it was going to be from like week 3. Week 3.
So what do you guys think about all this stuff, right? Crim's going off on the main stage once again, but yeah, really interesting situation that's happened the last really month or so with the whole Neptune situation, right? Clearly there was some internal friction there. Crim reckons that Clay kind of deserved better than the situation he finds himself in, but yes, has got no offers for other teams. But as with Neptune, right, that's the thing. Crim's going to stay. Neptune seemingly has gone, Kismet coming through, and it does raise the question, what's Neptune going to do next, right? Just because Neptune, of course, last year he comes into the league around about Cold War, looks rather good towards the end of the year, certainly on Florida Mutineers, comes over initially from Halo, right? And now he finds himself in a great opportunity right here. And, as I said earlier, I'm sure that maybe with the benefit of hindsight, New York thinks, okay, they could have maybe handled things internally somewhat better. But at the same time, like, Neptune, some of the stuff he said, like some of the tweets maybe he's made about his team when they weren't doing so well, implies that maybe, like, he wasn't also helping to create the great team dynamic, right? And that's the thing when you are teaming with Crimsix or a guy like Clayster, you have to be kind of the personality or the temperament that can actually accept that and deal with that, as, like, Shotzi, Illy seem to have been, and, like, Hydra, for example, example, on the team that, seems to be still working okay, right? So that's the thing. There almost certainly was a problem with the way Neptune was kind of conducting himself within the team, and Crim reckons that Nep was trying to throw Crim under the bus, but in fact the entire team and the entire league doesn't want to play with him, right? And Crim's I thought it was going to be incredible, because Crim's saying that usually what players do, when their teammates have been dropped, they'll make a nice little rosy assessment of the situation, say, oh yeah, this player, it wasn't too bad, it just wasn't a good fit or whatever, and they won't try and throw them under the bus in terms of their reputation. But Crim's like, look, I don't really care, this guy kind of screwed over our team or whatever, and so it frustrated me, so I'm just going to say it how it is. Nobody wants him, what's he going to do next, right? And that's the thing with Halo potentially on the agenda for some people, FUMING went back there, some other players who've kind of been in the Call of Duty Challenger side have made that return to Halo. Is that something that Neptune could even consider doing, right? Could he make the Halo return after this season is over if he doesn't get another spot in the league? Because if these type of words are coming out from Crimsix, it's not going to put you in a great position to get another spot elsewhere, especially if this team goes on to improve without Neptune, right? So very much intrigued to your perspective in the comment section below. The rumour still has it that Kismet's coming in, and Crim's like, look, pretty much what I want to do is just make the best out of this situation. I'm sure his goal is just to qualify for the World Championship at this point, try and be as good as they can, because right now they're 11th in the league. Pretty much only 3 of Los Angeles Thieves, Toronto Ultra, Seattle Surge, Florida Mutineers, and I guess the Subliners themselves, and Minnesota Rokkr, if I didn't mention them already. Those 6 teams, only 3 of them probably will qualify for champs, because Paris are probably not going to do it. And the top 5 of course, FaZe, Optic, it seems like Ravens and also Boston, and now Los Angeles Guerrillas with their victory should be in a good position to get to champs, right? Top 8 out of the top 12. So that's probably the immediate concern, but he doesn't reckon that Neptune was going to help them to do that at all, and that was even possible with Neptune in the roster. And of course, it's not just what Crimsix has had to say that's kind of implied this about Neptune, right? There's been some other weird things going on with Neptune the last couple of weeks. Of course, he's had plenty of words behind the scenes, right? Or not necessarily behind the scenes, but also on stream about the playstyle situation, the fact that he felt like he was getting put into tough situations that Crimsix doesn't necessarily agree with, but also this, right? When he tries to join the Stallions team, and then he joins and wants to bring Prolute on instead of Kaiser, and then where they're like, we don't really want to do that. Kaiser's kind of our guy. We want to build around him, all this type of stuff. And then Neptune just leaves and goes back to the team who was on with Prolute again. So just strange things really have been going on with Neptune, I feel like, the last few weeks. But definitely intrigued to your perspective on this stuff in the comment section below. And just to finish out with this, Crim's career, credit to Lion Man putting all this stuff together and pulling all the stats for this, because it can't have been easy to do. Tournaments 84, series win-loss 690 to 211. Honestly, I can't imagine how long it took Lion Man to put all the map count together and stuff. This is absolutely insane. But yeah, career series win-loss, career series map count, 49 finals appearances, 37 tournament wins, 3 world titles, of course, among that, since the CDL era 0.96. But pretty incredible stuff. I love these graphics as well he comes up with as well. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting a like button tells your YouTube gods this is a good video, and as you should see it as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you as always, take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.